Welcome in to the Meltdown. Today on the show, a big trailer dropped this morning as Deadpool and Wolverine are the anti-heroes that theaters need right now following a weekend box office race that ended with Civil War achieving victory over newcomers Abigail and the Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare. The music industry remains dominated by Taylor Swift, who has officially broken a record with her Tortured Poets Department release after it became the first album in Spotify's history to get more than 300 million streams in a single day. Special guest Taylor Korn from Uncorked takes a lap with us after her experience at Talladega this past weekend, and Luntz's list highlights some of the very best travel destinations that John has ever personally experienced. This is The Meltdown, presented by MyBookie and broadcasting live from the Culver studio.
Two big boys in a tiny studio, teaching you and me about everything they know that makes sound a meltdown. It's the meltdown, time for the meltdown, coming for the meltdown. Let's start the show.
And welcome to this lovely world that we call Meltdonia. Proud to have you here daily with us, 2 o'clock Central, 3 o'clock Eastern. I am Tim Melton here, live from our Culver's studio, as we would like to welcome in all of our Meltdonians that make us a part of your daily routine. We are on the road to 2,000 subscribers, and we would love to have you sign up if you have not already as a subscriber here of the channel as we continue to grow with your support. The other half of the Meltdown, that is John Lunsford, who is back officially from Disney World today, but that hasn't stopped Disney from being back at the top of the headlines today, as we got a full new trailer and some new posters for Deadpool and Wolverine. The reaction to us seeing the trailer for the very first time is now up live on the channel. Did this trailer do its job, John, of making you more excited for Deadpool and Wolverine to come out in July?
Yes, only because it gave me the Easter eggs that I wanted, because this is something that Loki is my favorite TV show that they have done so far, that Marvel has done within the MCU, and part of what I like about that is there's a lot of Easter eggs in that show because of how the storyline takes place, and you can tell this is going to follow a similar path with the TVA, different people. Instead of Owen Wilson, it's Matthew McFadden, but there's a lot of Easter eggs in this one where I'm like, huh, that's cool. Oh, that's cool. That's what I like about Marvel, especially, when you have to ultimately get to an Infinity War / Endgame, everybody all together kind of moment. Deadpool is, I think, what you have to have right in order to start that.
You do have to get this movie right. There's a lot riding on this. It is looked at as a fix. Tyler, you're here with us as well, preparing diligently for Wednesday's Triple Threat Trivia competition. I know you put in the work over the weekend. There's a lot of pressure on you to succeed on Wednesday. There's even more pressure on Deadpool and Wolverine to deliver a hit, not only for Disney, but for superhero cinema, which right now is in the toilet, my friend.
Oh yeah, I've had superhero fatigue for a while now, and the trailer we got today actually made me more interested in seeing what they can do with this movie and going to see it opening night.
Director Sean Levy told Screen Rant during CinemaCon, quote, "As far as crafting the Deadpool and Wolverine story, I just felt privileged every day because you're talking about two massive movie stars in their most iconic roles. It also gave me an opportunity. It's the third Deadpool movie, but it's not Deadpool 3. It's a different thing that's very much Deadpool and Wolverine, and it's not trying to copycat anything from the first two movies. They were awesome, but this is a two-hander character adventure." A lot of pressure also on the designers of the popcorn bucket, Rockstars. We have been promised a legendary popcorn bucket that is going to exceed every joke that's been made about Dune Part 2's popcorn bucket, which is seated right next to you. Something right. I know you love.
It's right here. It's the mouth of this. Got some movies in here. When is that going to be released? When is the release of the popcorn? Have we teased the date of we're going to release the popcorn bucket image?
I don't know when we'll get the concept imagery for what the popcorn bucket will look like. There's some fan art popcorn buckets that are circulating out there, and some of them are pretty good. But
does Tyler have to go buy it?
Oh yeah.
I've already been assigned the mission.
No popcorn, right? Just the bucket.
Just the bucket.
Don't want to taint it.
What are your guys' predictions for the design for the bucket?
So I've seen a lot of people trying to make it about like it's his mouth or something that you're reaching in. I do feel like you have to put some kind of private on there of some sort.
I didn't think that would be said today on the show at any point.
Covered or not, I've seen people say, hey, it should be at the other end. I've seen people put all kind of very raunchy, renderings out there. But you kind of have to. The whole point of the Dune popcorn bucket was that it looked like things you're not supposed to see out in public, and you have to, right?
Are they setting you up for disappointment?
Yes.
Yes.
I mean,
it's going to be disappointing because you can't truly make it someone's butt. I don't know what they're going to do.
And I watched the trailer today. I cannot. It's amazing what the Disney's letting them get away. I think that's amazing what Disney's letting them do this.
Wasn't even a Red Band trailer either.
Yeah.
Yeah, somebody pointed that out in the chat. I didn't really think about it.
Yeah,
when I watched Deadpool, I expect what it was. That's what you expect out of Deadpool. And even Logan, now that they did a hard R movie with that. But you do also expect the Red Band before it. And it just starts, and it's like, oh, this is going to be real.
Am I wrong? The Super Bowl trailer that came out also featured F-bombs and also coarse language? I
was not the bit they showed on TV did not, but yes, honestly, the trailer was what you expect from Deadpool. Because I noticed there's one scene where you get a little bit more from this trailer where they're fighting in a car, like an old station wagon or something, and you can tell the car is covered in blood in the main trailer. And the Super Bowl trailer had it red, but then every subsequent commercial you've seen after that, it's been black. I randomly watched Pineapple Express this past weekend. Don't ask me why. But there's a scene in that where they spill a red slushy all over the front of a car, and I noticed, I was like, what's all this black stuff on the cover on the front of this car in the commercials for it? But then you notice, oh, that's blood. No, it's actually a slushy that's supposed to look like blood. But I noticed they did that with Deadpool too. When you see the censored version of it, it's all black, but then you watch this and it's like, oh, okay, that's blood.
Wow, I didn't know they did that.
The director also teased that the film is, quote, going to be gnarly and it's going to be funny, adding that
Ninja Turtle?
Early screenings of the film were extremely promising. Deadpool and Wolverine is set to scratch its way onto theater screens on July 26th of 2024. We will be there opening night. Do you think that they'll do early access screenings with this film? Because it is one of the most anticipated of the year. Normally, early access screenings are done to try to promote some sort of buzz, so that way there's even more ticket sales that can be announced as being a part of its first full week of release. This isn't really a film that necessarily needs that, except for the fact that this is a movie that a lot of people are concerned is going to be too Disney-fied. And even though the trailers keep yelling to everybody, this is not going to be a Disney-fied version and a watered-down version of what you've seen before with Deadpool. That is the number one concern from a lot of avid moviegoers that love the first and second movie, that this is going to be a movie that is watered down. John, I don't have that fear as a moviegoer, especially after seeing the marketing.
No, and they tease this at I'll call it Comic-Con, CinemaCon, with the joke they talk about with cocaine at the end of it, saying, hey, that's one thing Kevin Feige said was off limits. I would be willing to bet that scene is not in the movie. That was something done for the promotional, because they keep going on and on and on. It's like, okay, we get it. We're actually talking about it without talking about it. That was something that was done, very break the fourth wall and talk about, hey, this is not going to be a Disney-fied movie. I actually, they did that once upon a Deadpool, I think for Deadpool 2, there was a PG-13 version of it. Somebody who's not into violence, I saw that one time before I watched the Deadpool movies, and I said, I'm going to watch that. Took me to Disney Plus, thinking, surely Disney Plus has that version. They don't. For whatever reason, the graphic on my Android TV or whatever was that, but it was just the normal one. So, they're all about, hey, we're putting the movie exactly the way it should be out there. But there's one tease in this, not to segue into what we're about to talk about, but there's one thing that has been rumored non-stop with this that I'm very curious if they're ever going to tease, if it actually is in the movie. And that's Taylor Swift being a part of the movie because, she's best friends with Blake Lively, who's Ryan Reynolds' wife, who Blake Lively supposedly has been cast in this as well, that she's going to play some quick one-off like Brad Pitt was in Deadpool 2, that is for a split second. But you talk about teasing into the movie to get butts in the seats. That's the tease you do to then get a lot more butts in the seats to strictly see one split-second cameo of some sort that has been rumored out there for a long time, and a lot of people are saying is absolutely true. Nobody actually knows what was actually. She
showed up to the football game with this crew, so it wouldn't be shocking to see that happen.
And everything.
But Taylor Swift has not proven to be a box office draw from a narrative perspective. Obviously, her concert film drew tons of people who love the music and are attached to it. But you remember Cats, John?
Oh no, I know.
What film role of hers stands out in any way?
What's the one that she did with Jeff Bridges? The book,
The Giver.
The Giver.
I actually never saw The Giver.
a great
I'm not.
book.
I'm not saying Taylor Swift's in the movie. It's going to be a good movie.
It'll create buzz.
If she is, she'll be in it for a second at most.
Yeah.
But it's just that something Deadpool's going to make 800, 900, maybe $1 billion anyway.
But I think
if you get another 50 million from putting Taylor Swift butts in the seats,
you think it could?
it's worth that split second having it in there. I think it could. I don't know that it will, but I think it could. That if you start teasing, hey, this one cameo is going to happen in your final trailer, which I could see them doing that anyway, whoever it may be, because there's all kind of names I've heard rumored out there that could potentially be in it. Some I believe, some I don't. But you just throw that one tease in there, that makes me curious.
I don't think it hurts, but I also think that it doesn't really help that much. I think it's sort of a no net gain on having a Taylor Swift appearance, but we will see if that happens. Right now, Taylor Swift is obviously on the top of everything culturally here in America and really internationally as her music continues to resonate. Wolverine cutting up the silver screen this summer while we're cutting weight for the summer with the friendly staff at Way to Wellness.
Oh, God. Hold on. My mouse is broken. Here you see, I don't know what was happening. Anyway, I disappeared for one day. Here you can see Tim and I weighing in at Way to Wellness. Go to planforme.com. Tim and I are doing great on that plan. Even got me at Disney World to change my habits and things that I would eat there. Go to planforme.com. They can get you on the same plan that I'm on, that Tim's on. They'll see what works for us. They'll see what works for you, and they'll develop a very customized plan, just like they did for me, Tim, Jim Dunaway, my dad, a whole family affair there at Way to Wellness. Leslie and her whole board-certified team have done incredible, helping us out, helping us, see us checking our blood pressure there, weighing in, motivating us along the way. So make sure to go to planforme.com for Way to Wellness.
Absolutely. We mentioned the Dune popcorn bucket. We will have another retro trailer reaction to share with you tomorrow. It will be the choice from the lovable boy known as Tyler, John Carpenter's The Thing from 1982. And I don't want to talk about where we stand with that film right now because we're going to be doing that in its entirety tomorrow, but make sure you're on the lookout for that as we are looking very forward to continuing that series. We've previously done 1997's The Game and 1990's Kindergarten Cop. So if you missed those, you can catch up as we're getting ready for The Thing from 1982 tomorrow. You got a chance to see a film that is making its way out there in some level of wider release, but not wide enough to where you could watch it here in Birmingham, Tyler, and that is Sasquatch Sunset. Yeah. And I heard some details from you during lunch, nonetheless, about this movie, and I'm not more excited to see it because it sounds like there's some Sasquatch that are doing some really gnarly things.
Hey, there's stuff even in the trailer. I was like, what the heck? I can't imagine.
I haven't seen the trailer,
I'm
so
gonna look at it now.
Yeah, so this movie, it's like a nature documentary mixed with like slapstick comedy with a lot of gross out humor. It's definitely not for everybody, but
the premise is it's a group of Sasquatch that are all a part of the same family and go about their day-to-day lives.
They're all together for the whole movie, but it never tells you like what their relation is to one another. You assume they're a family though, but there's no dialogue and no narration.
And a mama Sasquatch and a daddy Sasquatch love each other.
John, what is on your mind today? You've been talking about popcorn buckets and
I've seen the
Sasquatch.
trailer. I know what the trailer shows.
I know, but there's something, Disney's changed you over the weekend. I don't know how.
Yeah. Hey,
somehow.
They bought Deadpool. I mean,
I guess so.
Disney's way more adult than they used to be.
Rockstar.
Yes, sir.
By the way, Tyler's quick out of the theater reaction to Sasquatch Sunset. It's up. You somewhat recommend it because it ended up becoming your top 5 movie of the year, right, so far?
Oh, yeah, this is a hidden gem, honestly. If you can get past the gross out humor, it's I just saw Rockstar's face.
There's a
get past this and this and this.
I was gonna get away from this, but I felt like I didn't give Tyler his due because he actually went on a field trip to accomplish this.
Yeah, I drove 2 hours round trip to make a 60-second short.
First thing I said was like, "What theater are you at?"
Yeah.
But it's actually a really sweet movie. You get to know these Sasquatches and their daily lives, their daily routines, and like that's the best part of the movie. And
Adorable.
Honestly, the funniest parts of the movie, just seeing Jesse Eisenberg like trying to count, or another Sasquatch playing Snow for the first time.
Oftentimes I'll say I can wait for streaming for something, but for this I'm just not sure if I'm going to be seeing it at all. But I after hearing the details here, I don't know if I can watch it, but we'll see.
It's an Ari Aster film, even though he was
That's all
just
I need to
executive producer. it's got him written all over it.
Eventually, you're going to have to watch Beau is Afraid, Tyler, and give us your reaction to that movie.
Yeah, I'll get to it.
Woo! Okay. Rockstar's back with us. Rockstar, how are you, man?
I'm good, man. Sasquatch.
I want to bring something up. And
Please do.
And I don't want it to create conflict between us because that's not my goal with this. That's not my goal.
No, it never is.
But here we go.
Yeah.
No, not my goal. But last week, I genuinely was bringing up a topic about Billy Joel and CBS
Right.
cutting off Piano Man and then them deciding to re-air it Friday night. And I made the comment, I think I'm going to watch this. And Rockstar did what any producer off the air typically does, which is, oh my gosh, they're not actually going to go watch that. Or they're not going to actually witness that. They're just saying that because you've witnessed it 1,000 times. I have too, working in radio where somebody acts excited about something and they don't actually watch it. Friday night, I sat down and I watched the special because I told you I was going to.
Because of that.
I was already going to watch it, but it was even more double down that I was going to do it.
That I challenged you. Okay, then I'm wrong, guys. I apologize.
I didn't want to apologize.
Tim watched Billy Joel on Friday night. Did they finish Piano Man?
They did.
All right, good.
I actually...
Sing us.
Yeah.
I was talking to somebody on the phone, and I was like...
That's disrespectful to Billy,
if they cut off Piano Man here, coming up...
Sir, are you talking during a concert?
Then I am going to march up to CBS and do something about it. And they said, yeah, I don't know. I've had some prescription issues at CBS, and I just don't know. And I was like, I don't think that they understand that I'm talking about a television network.
Consumer.
The Billy Joel thing, I think, was more important to me than it was to this person I was talking to.
Have the numbers come out from Friday?
I don't have them. I'm sure they have. I'm sure they did well.
Okay.
I
and
know
combine
on
the two because you got a Sunday night and a Friday night.
Social media people were loving it. No one was complaining that it was airing again.
Oh, no, that's why I say Friday night was perfect because nothing's on Friday night.
But I did watch it. It was good. And there we have it. I hope that it doesn't air a third time because then I'll have to bring it back up.
It was crazy. You had no interest in it on that Sunday, correct?
No, not true. I was at an event.
But you would have watched it Sunday. No,
I would have.
Okay.
Yeah, I was at an event. We were having Poker Mania at John's house. And
you ain't got TVs at John's house?
Only 4.
Well, no, I couldn't watch it in the way I wanted, but I was telling our mutual friend David Walls about Billy Joel's concert, and he got eliminated early enough to run home and see it, so that was good.
SWAT was the #1 show with 4.3 million total viewers.
I thought that was a CBS show.
The Billy Joel, this is just Friday night in general. Billy Joel concert encore played to 2.9 million viewers after Sunday's initial version that was cut off had 6.3 million.
So there you go.
So about a third.
The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, speaking of music, has announced the 16 artists or other musical figures who will be inducted in 2024. It's a diverse list. For the first time, the inductees were announced as part of an American Idol broadcast during a Sunday night episode themed around the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
That show's still on?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, American Idol is still on. If you remember, runner-up to season 1, Justin Guarini.
Little sweet.
That came up in Meltdown Triple Threat Trivia. There were a couple of performers, notably making the induction. Mary J. Blige, Cher, Dave Matthews Band, Foreigner, Peter Frampton, Kool and the Gang, Ozzy Osbourne, A Tribe Called Quest. Any one of these names stick out to you as ones in which you would like to profile as being maybe an inspiration? Or
So the prerequisite, I think, is you have to have 25 years experience, at least 25.
Yeah.
Dave Matthews has been grinding for over 30 years. Yes. Is he going in? Is it the Dave Matthews Band or Dave Matthews?
Dave Matthews Band.
Wow. And then why did it take so long for Cher? I'm not a Cher fan, but why did it take so long for her? Why did it take so long for Foreigner? Foreigner has been, that's one of the ones that is every year, like we got duped again.
So 5 of the 8 voted in this year were first-time nominees. Osbourne, Cher, Frampton, Foreigner, and Kool and the Gang were all first-time nominees.
And I'm sure Osbourne's already in there with Black Sabbath.
Correct, 2006.
So what's interesting is going to see, because I feel if you've seen pictures of him recently, he's struggling. I don't know if he's touring, if he's going to perform. When are they taping the ceremony? October?
I'm not entirely sure.
Okay, so they usually perform. I'm curious what Ozzy's going to be able to do. Just seeing who inducts Ozzy or who inducts Cher. Because what I've seen is I don't think you have a choice. I can't say I want Tim to induct me. The Hall of Fame says, no, we're going to get Jim Dunaway to induct you.
It's kind of weird.
Like you can't pick, because I remember Steve Miller was upset because he was on the Howard Stern show, and he's like, I couldn't get my band tickets to go to the damn ceremony. They just got to play. And they only gave a ticket to me. He was complaining about everything. He's like, and I wanted like Elton John to I said I want Elton John. He agreed to it. He's going to induct me. Like, nope, Black Keys are going to do it. He was like, who the hell are the Black Keys? I said, they're going to induct you in the Hall of Fame. He's like, but I got Elton John right here. Nope, Black Keys are going to do it. So he's like, he was pissed about that. So I think that's weird that you can't pick who inducts you, even if it's a huge name.
That is strange. And Cher maybe doesn't want to be inducted at all. She had this to say on the Kelly Clarkson show last December, saying, quote, you know what? I wouldn't be in it now if they gave me $1 million. I'm never going to change my mind. They can just go, you know what, themselves. And I assume that was because she had never been nominated before. And she thought it was over. And now that she is being inducted, is she going to turn this thing down? What's she going to do?
She'll do it.
You think she will actually?
Because she'll say that, hey, look, I didn't campaign for this. You have history of me saying I don't want it. It doesn't matter to me. But if I'm invited, sure, I'll accept. But I never.
No, by the way, I'll take that check for $1 million.
I never campaigned that I should be Best Supporting Actor. I've never campaigned, so I'll take the Oscar.
7 nominees from this year will have to wait for another chance at getting in, including Mariah Carey, who didn't make the cut, Sinead O'Connor, who died in July. Oasis,
yes,
and Lenny Kravitz. Those are some of the more notable figures who were left off.
They were nominees, but got left
nominees,
off.
but did not make it in as
Mariah Carey is just all the stuff that she has. I mean, she owns Christmas. I'm not a huge fan, but she deserves to be in there. Sadly, she deserves to be in there.
They do have some inductees under the Musical Excellence Award.
It's like
which is
certificate of attendance.
You're even on there this time.
Yeah.
Jimmy Buffett, who passed away September 1st of 2023, is sort of the headliner of that class, including Dionne Warwick as well in this. And
what kills me is he wasn't even a nominee, but they put this in there. It's like there's a certain award here in town you can get that gives a judge's award of merit because they feel like, oh, well, we got to give award to everybody kind of thing. So this is like the same thing. It's like, well, Jimmy Buffett just died, so I think we should give. But although you just mentioned
Sinead O'Connor,
she didn't get
she did not get in.
She had one song,
and I don't think the campaign's going to get stronger for Sinead O'Connor. Yeah. So what's going to happen there?
Just saying, now Jimmy Buffett's somebody who belongs in anyway, but like just saying it was because he died, then that's kind of a slap in the face to Sinead O'Connor's estate.
Out of all the Hall of Fames that you're aware of, Rockstar, do you have an affinity for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, or does it really mean nothing to you as a musician?
I'm back and forth. Like I don't know why it's so coveted. You know, I like having at the Chinese theater. Don't you have to raise all this money you don't just get your hands? You have to like have all the Walk of Fame or whatever.
Is it because
you do all this work and you get all this money and you get all this accolade and fans, and it's just like to be upset that for the longest time it was Kiss.
But it's an ego thing, right?
It is. It's just like it's just like recognition or something like that. If my peers are in there, how come I've been doing this for 40 plus years? Why can't I? Why are they not? Why are they disrespecting me? Why are they not putting Foreigner in? Then finally, we finally put you on because we're running out of names, guy. We're running out. Like Dave Matthews, people are gonna be upset about that. Like Dave Matthews, it's just interesting. Like I saw Pearl Jam getting inducted into it, and it just doesn't really change anything. And there's still, it's not like I don't know. I'm in between.
Art is very subjective to where it's like you either love it and they're one of your. I mean, Tim and I's favorite band will never get inducted into a Hall of Fame like this, but it doesn't mean that our love for them is any less. Whether have Hall of Famer next to their name or not, it's not like sports where like you clearly are one of the best statistical performers at your category, so you belong in a Hall of Fame.
Yeah,
like this is so much different. Like Kiss is one of the best rock bands of all time, so if they don't get in, then it's like, I don't care. They're one of the greatest rock and roll bands of all time. Like,
but then people get upset. Well, how come the Eagles are in? But a prime example of Rolling Stone, I love this quote. In 1994-95, Radiohead's OK Computer came out. They said that they trashed the album, saying this is just garbage. Oh, Radiohead is done as a band. 25 years later, it is in the Rolling Stone's top 50 albums of all time. This thing is a classic, and it's just like the same magazine. It's just it's all opinion. It's all, but I'm not going to stop. I stopped listening to Radiohead because they're in the Hall of Fame now. They're sellouts. It doesn't matter.
Somebody said we need the Cure trash opening to play now.
From the sounds of it, no.
By the way, I think you have members of Oasis that have come out and just trashed the entire Hall of Fame, which is why they're probably not getting inducted.
Well, they're still trying. They could make so much money if the two brothers would just reunite and be able to do a tour, and a reunion tour would sell out internationally, but they just cannot come. I don't know. And they're getting old, and he can't sing. He's lost a lot of his voice. Liam, I'm a big fan, but I just don't. And they're to the point, like it's like where Jimmy Page and Robert Plant, like he cannot. If they said Zeppelin's getting back together with Bonham's son on drums, it's just like he cannot sing that anymore. All you're going to be is disappointed. He can't sing like that anymore.
It is sad to see people who were so powerful at their peak hold on way too long and not know when the game is up, for sure. Somebody who right now is at the top of every chart, that is Taylor Swift. John, you've been in the car a lot these past few days. How many times have you gone through the Tortured Poets department so far?
Probably 4 or 5 times.
And we're talking about the
anthology.
The anthology version, which has 31 songs.
Yeah.
And ranges 2 hours and 2 minutes to listen to it from start to finish.
God bless you.
The anthology, infinitely better than the original album, by the way.
Are there any standout songs that crack your top 10 Taylor songs ever?
So the problem with this one is, my wife kept trying to say this to defend it like it needs any defending with how successful it's been. But this is very much like hey, everybody that's followed the saga of Taylor Swift over the last 7-8 years from like her personal life, this album is for you. And now she's such a figure, and obviously now, especially with Travis Kelce, that like everybody knows her personal life. But to follow the whole Joe Alwyn story, and then with Maddie Healy, and then with now into Travis, this whole album is basically about that. That the first 16 tracks, 15, 16, however many on the main
first
album.
15 tracks.
But that's like the main album that originally released at midnight, and then they did the anthology a few hours later. But like that's all like, hey, for my fans that have stuck with me through all of this stuff and basically have been reading all the tabloid articles and everything, this is going to explain everything. Now here's like a cool album that I'm going to put out, and that's basically the anthology. It's got some more Travis songs and all in there. But like that's why that one's so much better. But the other one, you listen to it, and it's like, dang, Joe and Maddie just had a drive-by on him. That was brutal. Anyway, moving on, and then I'm kind of done at that point with that one. But then you get to the other album, and it's just a cool album that some songs, after listening over and over again, may eventually crack that, but it's not a I try to think of the terminology I use for it, but there's none of those that are like, oh, this is a jam. Like, I can get into this. Like, there's so many Taylor Swift songs over time that, like, she does them at her concert. You can super get into. They're really poppy, but, like, good beats that get stuck in your head and stuff like that. There's none of those on this album. That's the one thing that's missing from it. And ultimately, this may crack the top 5 of albums overall when you take into account all 31 songs, but it's not going to beat 1989. It's not going to beat Red. It's not going to beat Reputation. It's not going to beat a lot of those albums.
The Tortured Poets department is Swift's 11th studio album and comes hot on the heels of the Star's blockbuster Eras Tour, which has become the first ever tour to surpass $1 billion in revenue. It travels to the UK and Europe in May. Rockstar, I know we've talked about this in the past. You're not huge on Taylor Swift.
Oh, I like
but
that.
You have a huge respect for what she's done for the business and generating so much for the local economies when she makes a tour stop.
What just blew my mind, and how old is Taylor now?
34?
And she really made her third mark, what, 20?
Did we plan that?
14?
That was in unison.
Yeah, she's 34.
When did she break out? 2014? Am I crazy? Earlier than that?
Earlier than that.
First album came out in 2006.
Okay, 2006.
No.
Just to put things in perspective.
18 years ago.
Pearl Jam, my favorite band, Friday on the same day released their 12th studio album. They have been a group since 1990. 12th studio album.
Yeah.
This girl is performing nonstop and somehow recorded her 11th album with 30 songs on it. That's what I'm amazed by is her work ethic. It's just that all she does is work.
She's an 8 since COVID.
That's it's incredible. And then she does these things where one of those things where it was not promoted. Just one of an album just dropped at midnight. Nobody knew it was coming. Like just stuff like that. Like so, she knows what she's doing. She's a workaholic. That's insane to me that a band's together from 1990 consistently putting out albums and they're only at 12.
So from the business angle of this, you guys may or may not be aware of this story. CBS News ran a report last week on a Taylor Swift college course at University of California, Berkeley, seeking to inspire students to emulate her business acumen. Undergrad Sophia Lindahl and Mayad Bushala teach artistry and entrepreneurship, Taylor's version, to 44 fellow students. Along with UC Berkeley, several universities nationwide, including Harvard and Stanford, are offering classes on the so-called Swift effect in departments ranging from English to political science and gender studies. Swift's successes and failures, including the battle to regain control of her master recordings, are part of the syllabus at UC Berkeley. Tyler, let's say that you're going back deep undercover to head back to college. And we're going to do it like a 23 Jump Street here with Tyler. Are you signing up for the Taylor Swift class? Is that something that you're going to make a part of your syllabus?
That actually doesn't sound like a bad elective if you were in a liberal art program and wanted to do something on your own in the future.
Hey, you're going to teach me how to be a billionaire? Okay. Yeah. I'll take that class. Like, I took a class at Alabama that was American history through baseball. And you basically studied from like 1850 until present day American history through the lens of baseball and through segregation and through the political climate, and everything about baseball you learn through, or everything about American history you learn through how the game of baseball ultimately has evolved, because it's evolved with America. And it was a fascinating class to take that you literally just learned about baseball. I know most of that I know about baseball, and I don't even like baseball, even though I'm wearing an athletics cap. I don't even really like baseball, but it taught me this whole new lens of like how to view American history. This is the same thing. This teaches you kind of a whole new lens of like, I feel like I wasn't a business major, but I feel like normal business classes are just going to teach you the X's and O's of business. But it's like, hey, Taylor didn't just necessarily do the X's and O's of business. She did the art side of it. She's on the business side of it. She's generated money for local economies, all that. That there is kind of like a new path to take to teach a lot of the stuff that's very different than the same business classes, same way business classes have been done for years.
Tyler, can you say I'm a businessman now?
I'm a businessman now.
Good. That's what I needed to hear. That's what I really
That's
needed.
the class I want to take.
Rockstar.
Hey.
Paste, which is a publication that put out a review of Taylor Swift, ended up putting out an editor's note with the review of this album saying, quote, "There is no byline on this review due to how in 2019 when Paste reviewed Lover, the writer was sent threats of violence from readers who disagreed with the work. We care more about the safety of our staff than a name attached to an article." And they put out a review with absolutely no idea of who wrote it to try to protect their staff. Does that say more about the time we're in, or does that say more about the fact that these reviews are looked at? I guess it's all really the same question here. How sad is it that this group felt the need to move forward with the review without actually being able to credit to somebody? Isn't that the death of journalism when you can't credit your work back to the writer of it without fear of some sort of physical retribution?
It's true, and it goes right back to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Let's say that she's eligible in 2025 and she doesn't get the nomination. There's going to be people, what's it calling?
Swifties?
No, when you take them out, when you
Doxing.
Doxing. There's going to be doxing of all these voters. And it's like, it's just like, just because these are angry people that are fans of Taylor Swift that she didn't get nominated, like, it's like, you got to put your focus on somewhere else. Like, she's going to be okay. Like, you offended her and now they're just going to attack you and stuff like that. That's that mob mentality is scary. Like, you can't say something negative about her. And like, I guess, like, if you say something about she's just a woman, she's just a girl, and they see that and they're just going to attack you. Like, it's just that's scary to me. Like, you got to review her album. And if I genuinely, I did not like it. And if I type that I genuinely, I just don't think she's a good songwriter, then like people are going to go after me.
We can agree, though, if it had been a positive review, they would have probably put the name on it.
Oh, of course. Oh, yeah.
This is a negative review.
But then, like, do you want me to lie for fear? Like, I got to sign anonymous on this now because I didn't like it. Like, it's like I have nothing against her, but I don't like the song.
To be fair, if you're a journalist and you're putting an opinion piece out there, you're putting your opinion piece out there. And I would say reviews are opinion pieces. Like, if I give a negative review on a movie here or on Twitter or whatever, and people attack me for it, I put my review out there. I've chosen to give my review on it for a reason. Like, my problem is,
so do you consider this cowardly, what they've decided to do?
I do, absolutely. Number one. And number two, I know I'm a Taylor defender in a lot of ways, but like, I read another negative review that was like, basically the headline was super clickbaity of like, hey, this album sucks. You actually read into the article and it's like, hey, the album is actually pretty good, but Taylor has nothing to prove anymore. So what's the point of creating new albums? It's like, because she's an artist doing what she likes doing, and you're going to criticize it and give it a negative review of that. Those are the kind of people that deserve to be attacked, because you're clearly only writing that to try to get a headline and get the clicks in. It'll happen. I will click on it. People will click on it. But it's like, now you're signing your name to this saying, hey, I'm just trying to get a click on this. That's the kind of stuff that also is making everything go downhill in journalism.
If it's you and you have all these fans, how do you address your fan base? Like, does she address like, guys, like, I'm okay. Thank you for defending me. You don't like, just like, if it's you and you see that these people are getting doxxed and everything, like,
but at
my
what point
fans,
does that battle stop? Because you have to continuously,
right.
for the next thing you have to say that.
Yeah,
the
but
next
just
thing
like,
you have to
guys,
say
calm
that.
down.
The
Like,
next thing you have to say
but they're
that.
knowing like these fans are just so rabid for me, and they're defending me when somebody says anything negative about me or my boyfriend or me showing up on the TV on a football game.
The boyfriend thing is more what she's done, more so than like reviews.
Yeah.
She basically put out a statement when it came out, like on her social media, saying, "Hey, the album's out." Basically said, "Hey, this album is, coming from me. This is just me singing about my feelings. This isn't about anybody, like it clearly is, but like this isn't about anybody in particular. Don't go attack anybody in particular.
Sad.
This is me being an artist."
But you have to say, you have to say that to your fan base.
There, but you do have to say that to your fan base.
I'm on Facebook and it's split, right? Half of my feed is praising Taylor Swift, talking about how she is this genius businesswoman. And the other half is talking about how she is leading people to the dark side of our culture and is trying to poison children's mentalities. And there's such a divide right now that anything can be looked at as either a tool for growth or anything can be weaponized. And I'm sure you've been seeing similar things online. And that is why I think her fan base on social media feels so revved up to try to defend, no pun intended, her reputation.
Yeah, it's just funny though when you see, like, I just pulled up the Wikipedia page and it has, here's a handful of ratings out there pulled from various sources. Okay, Rolling Stone, whatever you think about Rolling Stone, it's a big major publication. Okay, 5 out of 5 stars. All right, cool. The Guardian, which is British, 4 out of 5 stars. Okay.
Harsh.
The Independent, 5 out of 5 stars. The Times, 5 out of 5 stars. Paste, 3.6 out of 10. And it's like, where did that come from?
Yeah.
It's interesting seeing all of that, and then it's like,
what do you think that discussion is like, though, in the editor-in-chief's room of like, maybe we shouldn't put Sally's name on this review because
who we pay for to do reviews.
It's such a weird.
Hey, did you really not like it? Fully explain in detail. When we argue about movies all the time, we explain why we did or did not like whatever movie it was, and I'm willing to stand by. Hey, I thought this movie was good. Hey, I thought the movie was bad, or vice versa. But you're getting into that line of work for a reason, so don't be like, I'm going to destroy this album. Do you truly feel that way? Then put your name on it.
But you also think it's crazy when people overreact to those reviews
It's
and
both.
threaten some level of violence.
I agree, but you can't not do it and say, I'm just going to put this anonymous review out there trashing this, because then you're as cowardly as anybody that's attacking it anonymously online.
But can you imagine starting a show off in Meltdonia and say, one of us in this room.
That right there felt like an attack. I don't know why, but why do I feel like I took
in
great offense to that?
Meltdonia, one of us in this room saw the Shaws of Sasquatch Sunset Diaries and didn't like it. That's all we're going to say. Somebody in this room didn't like it.
Right.
And just like why? Well, because he doesn't want to get in trouble. He fears the fans of that movie are going to attack him, and he's got a point. It's just like, so I have to guess one of y'all saw it and didn't like it?
I'm with you. It's not the way media
a movie.
typically works, but that is the way that Pace has decided to go about this. I just thought it was an interesting. I just wonder, is there any other figure currently in pop culture that Pace would feel this way about, or is it just Taylor Swift?
I'm sure there are, because there's figures that are just like Taylor. There's figures that are the exact opposite of Taylor that they may feel great about, that these other 5 out of 5 stars would feel negative
check
about.
and see if they did an Olivia Rodrigo review and if they put a name on it and if it was positive or negative, or I would love to know, is it just a Taylor rule that Pace is following?
Was it Guts? Is that her last
It
one?
was Guts, yes. Or
Aggro Crag.
I'm just curious. Is this the first time that this has happened? Because it does seem kind of defeatist to work in the entertainment opinion.
I will say all
arena.
the ones that gave Taylor 5 out of 5 also gave Guts 5 out of 5. All the ones that gave her 4 out of 5 also gave her 4 out of 5. Pace is nowhere to be found on Wikipedia. So let me look.
This is the first time I've ever heard of Paste, by the way.
Me too. It sounds like a smaller publication that's trying to get some clicks in there, but
maybe so. Maybe they decided that this was the way to do that. I want to talk a little bit about the box office while John looks up that. A24 Civil War won the box office for a second straight week, defeating 3 new releases to remain atop the North American charts. John, do you have something for us right now?
8.2.
8.2 for Olivia Rodrigo. Okay, and they put a name on the article? That's what I really want to know.
By Rachel Saywitz.
Yeah, there you go.
Rachel.
Alex Garland's latest film, which stars Kirsten Dunst as a photojournalist, added 11.12 million in its second weekend of release. It has accumulated 44.8 million so far, becoming one of A24's top 5 highest-grossing movies of all time with a $50 million price tag. It's also the indie distributor's most expensive film to date. Civil War landed ahead of Universal's vampire horror film Abigail, director Guy Ritchie's The Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare, and Sony and Crunchyroll's anime adventure Spy Family Code White. Did I get that right, Tyler?
Yes, you did.
Ooh, thank
To
you
be fair,
so much.
I heard you mention, I'm used to Godzilla X Kong. You're not supposed to say the X in that either. Just
You're not supposed
Correct.
to say Godzilla X Kong?
you're supposed to say
Correct. It's just Godzilla Kong, the new empire.
Man.
I heard you
I'm
make
learning
that
all
argument. I
sorts
was
of
like, well, technically, this. Yeah.
3.4 stars now.
Abigail underperformed after being projected to open with 12 to 15 million in its debut. It landed in second place with 10.2 million from 3,300 venues. The film cost just $28 million to produce. Abigail, directed by the duo of Radio Silence, who made the last 2 Scream films. Tyler and I went to go see this last Thursday night in a barren wasteland of a theater. The theater was nice, but there was nobody in there beating down the door to see Abigail. And we both walked out, I think, very disappointed because tonally we just didn't jive with this movie. You've had a couple of days to think about it, Tyler. Is Abigail a movie you'd recommend?
Absolutely not. Go see Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare. That's actually a good time. But Abigail, I'd say like the first 20, 30 minutes when it's still kind of a novelty is all right. But after that, it's just straight downhill.
But it
and
really
doesn't
does.
stop going.
Go see Doom Part 2 again.
Or you could do that. That's a good move.
See, Tyler, we disagree slightly on this, and that is that I feel it takes about an hour to get to where the trailer has you as a viewer. And it takes about an hour to set up to get you to the point where the trailer begins. And then all the stuff in the trailer you've then seen in the rest of the movie. So for me, I have a different negative reaction to it, but we both have come out with the same sort of feeling, and tonally it just didn't work for me. If you're going to watch it, I would wait for streaming, but the fact that it is a brand new movie and it ended up losing out to Civil War, I think tells you a lot about where the momentum for this one currently is. I also didn't find it to be very scary. It was more of a comedy to me than it was a horror movie.
It tried to be a comedy.
Tried to be, yes. Warner Brothers and Legendary's monster mashup, Godzilla, Kong, A New Empire.
The New Empire.
Whew. Is it
What
the
about the
New
Gentlemanly
Empire?
Warfare of
New
business?
The New Empire.
Gosh sakes. It earned $9.4 million in its fourth weekend of release and took third place. It now has grossed $171.6 million domestically and $485.2 million globally. At number 4, Lionsgate's The Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare. Who knew that would be the easiest title to get
Seriously.
right today? Collected just $9 million.
Abigail?
$9 million in its first weekend of release. I continue to make the argument, do not let Henry Cavill become the next 007. While I think the property can generate revenue regardless of who its main star is, he's not a draw. Henry Cavill is not a draw. And this film proves further that he is not a draw for general audiences to the Cineplex.
Take like the Aladdins of the world out. Do Guy Ritchie movies normally crush it at the box office?
Probably not.
I honestly don't know.
I'll tell you what definitely doesn't. Henry Cavill movies definitely don't.
You talking about Superman?
I'm talking about Argyle. Argyle was a huge bomb this year. One of the biggest bombs of the year.
What about Mission Impossible?
He wasn't the star of that. He wasn't the star of that either.
He was promoted as the face of the movie, Argyle.
He was in the trailers a lot more than he was in the movie.
Correct. And it doesn't matter if no one goes to see the movie in the first place, how much he was in it or how much he wasn't in it. He was a big part of the promotional material. Look, Henry Cavill, when he's in a vehicle where he plays that second or third featured part, typically works. When he's looked at as being the top billed star, it doesn't work. And
He'd be the bad guy in Bond.
maybe so. Maybe so. Let's see. The weekend's final new release, Spy Family Code White, fizzled in fifth place with $4.8 million in a little over 2,000 theaters. The film, though, has already earned $45.8 million at the international box office. Is this a film you plan to see, Tyler?
I still need to catch up on Spy Family, but I could honestly probably see this one without watching the series. Most anime films end up having no bearing on the plot of the actual show, so it might be a standalone.
Universal and DreamWorks Animation's Kung Fu Panda 4, it ended up landing in the number 6 spot. It has grossed $179 million in North America, $480 million globally. Overall, this ranked among the lowest grossing weekends of 2024 at the domestic box office, with roughly $65 million total for all films combined. Year-to-date revenues are 20%, I should say, behind the same period in 2023. Hollywood studios would be thrilled if it was just 20 cents off, but instead it's 20% off. And there's going to be sporadic big hits throughout the year, but really everything is leaning towards 2025 being the year where we get past what the effects of the strikes are.
Yeah, we came into this year thinking it was going to be weak. Now, I don't know off the top of my head big movies that were moved from 24 to 25 necessarily, but I mean, imagine if we had gotten Dune last year when we were supposed to in November, then what on earth would there be this year? I mean, Godzilla, I guess, is the highest grossing movie. Is it second right now? I don't know, but like you would have nothing. It would be a really down year if we hadn't gotten that because of the strike.
Since I'm bad with pronunciations today, y'all help me out here. One of the stars of Abigail, Giancarlo Esposito.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Juan Carlo?
Is it Juan Carlo?
I thought it was Giancarlo.
Everybody says
Somebody's at
Giancarlo,
the
but I
door.
think he has corrected it at some point to where it's actually, and I think it's like Esposito. It's like he's corrected both names.
Esposito.
But it's the kind of thing I think people were kind of going with it.
I
Because
want to make sure I get it right, but he was reportedly so broke after Breaking Bad that he considered arranging his own murder because, quote, if I got somebody to knock me off, death by misadventure, my kids would get the insurance. I had 4 kids. I wanted them to have a life. When it comes to him as an actor, I assume you guys are all about him and
huge.
what he's done.
100%.
Yeah.
But when it comes to this as being a strategy for maybe how to end your life, not really the wisest of decisions, I would say, but I think he feels comfortable enough now financially to talk about how this was him at his lowest point.
Actually got to meet him when I was playing one day at a hotel. I used to play a brunch at Redmont, and he was filming here. He was with his daughter. He had a cast on his leg, and I just walked up to him and just said hello, nothing big, but he was super, super shy, really nice, but really, really shy, and a lot smaller than he is on stage at what's the chicken place? Gus Fring.
Los Pollos
Hermanos.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he's a super nice guy, super shy. His daughter was really sweet, so I'm pulling for Juan Carlo Esposito. You have a guest right here, I think.
I got it. But first, Rockstar, speaking of the Breaking Bad star, it sucks real bad when you break a tooth.
Oh, God.
But breaking one badly doesn't have to break the bank. If you're experiencing any sort of tooth pain, turn to the team located on Grants Mill Road in Alabama, Dental Associates, led by Dr. Jeff and Dr. Brian. They allow you to feel at ease about all of your trips to the dentist. They have all the latest advancements in dental healthcare technology and can take care of all of your dental work right there in one convenient place with a friendly staff. You're going to feel that from the moment you walk in, making it that much more special of an experience to visit their practice. If you're ready to find that perfect dental team, reach out and try them for yourself. They can help you feel at ease knowing you're getting taken care of the right way. For more information or to make an appointment, call them at 205-956-8977. It's 956-8977 or visit alabamadental.com. They look forward to seeing you. All right, we do have a special guest at the window here.
Let's see if I can
Let's see. I believe we have some waving going on. That's Taylor Korn,
Let me see if I
everybody.
get the door.
Rocky?
Come on in.
Rocky's going to let Taylor in.
It's just through this door right here.
Come on in here, Taylor.
Hey guys,
Welcome. Appreciate you making time for us.
I appreciate y'all having me. What a treat.
Taylor Korn from Uncorked joining the show. This is a new channel that you're building up right now. And for those that don't already know Taylor, what do you have going on with Uncorked? And fill us in on the vibe of your channel and what you are continuing to build here on behalf of Disrupt Media.
So I started a weekly mailbag answering just some random questions. I've had some guests on. EG was my first guest, and then Dunaway came on when we were in Phoenix for the Final Four. I've also been posting just some random shorts. I have a lot of thoughts that go through my mind, so I've just been sharing.
Did you end up flipping the cushion that he spilled the wine on?
No.
Okay, so it was left there.
Well, my thought was the bottom. You know how sometimes, a lot of the time, the bottom of a cushion has that material on it that's not cushion. It's not like it's a double-sided thing. And I was like, we're going to make more of a scene trying to flip this thing around, probably knock something else over. I was like, let's just stand up and excuse ourselves from this area.
At least there's not video of evidence of this that's on a YouTube channel right now.
No.
Oh, wait, there is. But yeah, you're building a lot of fun things there. You were actually this weekend out at Talladega for the past couple of days. I saw, was it you, the behind the camera when Rockstar was doing the tour of Jeff Gordon's bus?
Yes.
That was
disgusting.
That's one adjective for it.
We met some guys that had a bus, and they were super nice. And I was like, "Hey, can we do a tour of your bus?" And they're like, "Please come in." I was like, "Y'all are proud of this." Like they were proud of it.
Yes,
it was rough.
Rough. The thing is, the whole entire time you were selling it as if Jeff Gordon was coming back.
Because it's Jeff Gordon and Jimmy Johnson stickers all over the place. And I was like, "This has got to be his bus. Let's go see if we can see Jeff. Let's see if he's in the restroom with that teeny tiny hook on a piece of plywood." And just getting Taylor, "Hey, get your footage. Look at this shower." And you just hear her going, "Oh."
Oh, I heard you saying that when you opened up the curtain.
And you got a toilet lid off the toilet, behind the toilet. I don't know, like, hey, when you're done, put the toilet lid back on the shelf. What?
You trying to make sense of how they had everything
they were
was so funny.
But they were so proud of it. Like, there's just random, there's like Cinnabons right here, and there's a loaf of bread, and then liquid IV. Like, what? You guys are health conscious now? You gotta stay hydrated. So I just thought it was interesting. Taylor gets fantastic footage, and you can hear her going, up, wasp,
and then you tried to interview the wasp, which was great.
She was trying to get out. I probably let him out of the bathroom. Like, oh my god, oh my god!
That place, it was infested with black mold. The shower, the walls were at one point white, and there was a growth of some sort of, I don't know what, like
don't
fungus.
Touch that, it's still growing.
Yes. It was. You would leave the shower dirtier than you entered.
Let's say you don't have to take a shower there. Would you sleep in that bus?
No,
just you.
No.
You don't have to use. You don't have to use the facilities.
You got to give a perk. You got to give some sort of perk to try to make it worth it.
Theo Vaughn exclusive interview.
Oh.
On Uncorked.
I feel like I wouldn't make it out alive
it's just you.
to witness the interview. I feel like there's probably rodents in that thing.
Well, you gotta have roommates.
Well, we can do Uncorked with Tyler Johns. It'll be the same sort of vibe, right? I mean, we can have Tyler after you perish on the bus. You can interview Theo Vaughn, right?
Yeah. Wait, what am I doing?
No, you're living. Taylor is dying. Never mind. Just take the deal. Take the deal. It's a good thing. Anyway, Taylor, one thing that happened out there while you were in Talladega, former Auburn guard Aiden Holloway.
Oh, here we go.
Committed to Alabama out of the transfer portal. You covered both of these teams all season long. Put into perspective just how big of a story this is.
So, when he entered the transfer portal, I posted a video on TikTok or something. So I was like, I'm going to get out ahead of this. And I'm just going to share my thoughts on anyone that leaves Auburn and goes, no matter where they go. And I said, we don't know what's going on in these kids' personal lives. Sometimes players will transfer to be closer to their family or whatever. It's not a good fit. And when that happens, I'm saying, okay, you go do what's best for you. I wish you the best. And I hope that you find success. Obviously, it's a little bit harder to do that when they're going to Alabama. But still, it's like I'm not going to wish any ill luck on this kid. If that's where he wants to go, that's where he wants to go. But in my video, I said the only time that my opinion of these players changes is if they leave the program and then start saying negative things about it. Because at that point, what good does that do anyone? It's getting clicks for whoever is breaking the story. But
so Uncorked?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I guess it's good for you.
Yes. And I just think it's so, in this sense, I think that it is so disrespectful. I don't know. I'm not even answering your question, I don't think, but I'm just going
whatever
on a
track you're on, this is the track I want you to be on. Go for it.
I think it's disrespectful. Aiden, obviously, he was a 5-star recruit. He was the McDonald's All-American, whatever. But he struggled. He's had a few good games early on in the season. He started to struggle. And Stephen Pearl came on the show every week and said every single time the ball leaves his hands, we think it's going to go in. We are so confident in him. He's struggling. They never said, publicly, stop shooting the ball at Aiden. So he leaves. So they had his back, and they took up for him publicly throughout the whole season when he was going 0 for 5 in games. which is, I mean, what I think a coach should do because they don't want to put their own players down. But then he turns around, he leaves and goes to Alabama, whatever. I think fans make a lot more of it than, it really, really is. And that's why it's a big deal because of the rivalry.
But you are highlighting a lot of the struggles that maybe he had while wearing the orange and blue.
Yes.
So how big of a loss is it for Auburn that he has now joined a rival school, given that it seems like a lot of these faults are being brought up by Auburn fans themselves?
I think that our roster is better than it was. Like, I don't think that you would have started over who's coming in, whether it's transfer portal wise or recruits that are coming in next, like that are graduating this year. I mean, obviously I would have loved to have him because I think his ceiling's high, but I would have been a lot more upset losing someone else.
But what you don't want is you've already left to try to hurt the program with you leaving. Don't try to hurt it worse with what's coming out of your mouth.
Right, exactly. Well, I just think it's so disrespectful, too, to the coaching staff. I'm like, they publicly defended you and expressed their confidence in you while you were playing horribly, and then you turn around and say they sold me a dream. Okay, well, obviously, and he's saying that they changed the offensive plan and stuff. That has to like you make adjustments when players aren't performing. That's how sports work. That's how anything works. If something's not working or someone's not performing, you're going to pivot to whoever's up next, or whatever plan will work better for the team. And so I don't really see. I don't know. I think it's disrespectful, and not just because he went to Alabama. I think in general, doing that, they gave you a chance. They brought you in, then they defended you when you didn't do good, and then you turn around and do this. You don't even have to talk about that.
John, you are obviously on the other side of this, being an Alabama fan. Taylor, a diehard Auburn fan. Tyler, an Auburn fan as well. I'm a UAB fan. Go Blazers! But my question to you is, what does this do for the rivalry when it comes to basketball? Because it feels to me like this is setting the stage for some really heated environments this upcoming season.
It is. As an Alabama fan, I don't really care that he came to Alabama. I'd rather have a big man because that's what ultimately ended up losing it for them, as they didn't have anybody down low. But, if he comes in and crushes it, then it's like, I feel like Auburn fans will be like, well, why didn't he do this at Auburn? What happened there? Is it a coaching issue? Is it just something about the arena? He couldn't shoot as well in the arena or whatever, maybe. If he plays awful, like he didn't live up to the hype at Auburn, does the same thing at Alabama, then Auburn fans are like, see, that's why we got rid of him. And then Alabama fans are like, why on earth did we bring this guy in? No matter what he does, it's going to sour even more the already totally sour Alabama-Auburn rivalry. I'm starting
to believe it's maybe an unhealthy rivalry, just a little bit. I'm starting to believe that.
Yeah,
yes.
I
Confirmed.
mean, absolutely.
It was a joke.
But yeah, I mean, it just adds more heat to it. I mean, there was a hot second there when Jalen Hurts transferred that Auburn looked like a good destination. Boy, imagine what that would have done. If Jalen Milroe decides to get out of Dodge, boy, what would that do if that happened? I mean, there's been a lot of times where it's like, ooh, what if X happens? What if Y happens? Well, now something has happened. Now it's not the most high-profile player. It's not Mark Sears leaving Alabama going to Auburn. It's not Janai Broom leaving Auburn coming to Alabama or something like that. But it's still a player doing it, period. It's a player who will play minutes for Alabama. So when that first matchup happens, and whether it's at home or away, I don't know if they've announced the next year's schedule or not, but home or away, it's going to be a story.
Taylor, I assume you plan to be in attendance whenever that game does take place.
Yes. And another thing is that, which I don't even know why people are talking about this right now because we haven't seen what's going to happen next season, but it's Bruce Pearl can't develop talent, and that's why he's leaving. And I'm like, okay, well, if he plays better, it's expected that as you get older and as you have more experience playing in, which, I mean, I don't know. I didn't play college sports, so I don't know what the jump is going from playing high school to college, but I'm assuming it is a fairly large adjustment. So if he didn't play better this season, that's an issue wherever he is. But for the narrative already to be he's leaving because Bruce Pearl, if he plays better, it's all because of Bruce Pearl. That also, I'm just like, so you expect him to just plateau throughout the rest of his college career, if he does, then it is what it is, and that isn't what anyone expects. But I don't like that narrative either. But it actually infuriated me when he turned around and said that. I mean, what good does that do?
All I gotta do is release a statement that says, hey, this, I talked to my parents. This was the best step from my journey.
Yeah.
I wish Auburn all the success in the world moving forward, but I'm going to the University of Alabama. Roll Tide and move on.
Right. It's like the transfer portal.
Just be nice about it. You can be nice about it.
John is very nice when he wins, and he won in this with his fan base, I feel like.
think about the people that post the graphics entering the transfer portal.
Yeah.
It's the first thing that people point out if it's missing is the fact that they didn't thank their head coach. It's thank you to the fans, thank you to 55 assistants, and the head coach's name isn't on there. I feel like that still
Means they got benched.
yeah, but I just feel like it should always be thanks for the opportunity.
Let's talk a little bit more about you personally. Let's talk about what you're building here for your channel, Uncorked, on YouTube. If you haven't subscribed, make sure you go and subscribe. Taylor would appreciate that. But one thing that comes up a lot is your love of travel. You do love to travel. You've done some travel vlogs on there already with different basketball events in which you've covered. What are some of your favorite destinations you've ever traveled to? What are some of those spots that are memorable to you throughout your entire life?
Let's see. As of recently, St. Martin's, I actually got salmonella there, which wasn't good. but other than that,
That could have happened anywhere, though, right?
it
Was it a
could have.
fresh
It was
catch?
legit. It was the peanut butter recall.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it was not good. It was not good. Me and my sister both got taken.
Taken?
But
Like Liam Neeson taken?
yes, that's what it felt like. But that was beautiful. We went to Italy after my sister graduated, which was also incredible. We did a lot of hopping around out there.
You're
to different-
Italian.
I am Italian.
I am
yes.
Italian as well.
Okay.
So how was it?
It
Seeing
was-
it up close and personal.
It was amazing. It's just so different how it's crazy how different things are, like the trains and stuff like that. We would never hop on a train to
Anywhere.
jump to a different city. Yeah,
Yeah.
or anywhere really. And that's one of their main modes of transportation, which was very interesting to me. They had a McDonald's, which was weird. I did not partake in eating there, but the food is so good. Oh, and I'm pretty sure, I can't remember if I'm recalling this correctly, but I'm pretty sure you don't tip.
That sounds right.
Is that a thing?
That sounds right.
It's a
very American
a
principle.
lot of countries don't.
You don't
tip.
okay. I
Considered
was like,
insulting.
I don't think that I'm making that. Oh, and you have to pay for water.
See, a
That
lot
cancels
of
it out.
a lot of
Yeah.
countries, a lot of countries you don't tip, and in this country you are encouraged to overtip, like
Right.
for the most bare minimum of tasks.
Yeah.
And they also don't put ice in the water, correct?
Yeah, it's just a
like a
glass.
tepid
It's a
warm
glass thing, and then if you want still or
Salmonella.
Sparkling.
salmonella, yeah, I don't know. It's just crazy, but yeah, it's literally room temperature in a jug, and everyone pours one glass, and you're on. They're like, all right, you want $75.99 for another jug? I'm like, at this point, just give me a glass of wine.
Yeah, just go
like,
to Olive Garden and call it a day.
yeah.
That's where you train your chefs.
Absolutely.
Show me the training ground.
But that was a very fun trip. I like tropical.
Sorry. That's what they say.
I like tropical. We went to the Amalfi Coast while we were there, which was beautiful, and I would love to go back. But we're going to, I keep forgetting. I keep saying wrong where we're going. We're going to Europe this summer.
Awesome.
I can't remember exactly where, but
Well,
I
you'll,
think-
you'll have to come back and tell us when you know
Yes.
exactly where you're going.
well,
We
I
would love
keep
to hear.
saying it's between a few places, and every time I say it, I think I say the wrong one, so I'm just not going to say it.
Hey,
Warrior.
Are you still in for Twisters this upcoming summer?
Oh yes,
That's the movie that is going to get Taylor back to the theaters.
yes,
'Cause
with the
it's-
waitresses.
It's been a while. Yeah, you're convinced there's waitresses. I think you're going to be very disappointed with what is actually offered because it's just people who are delivering your food in cartons.
I was trying
But
to think waitresses with twisters. You're talking about the movie theater. Okay, yeah.
we're talking about the movies. This would be on July 18th. We're going to
18th.
see this. So make sure
Okay.
you've got that marked down.
Okay.
July 18th. We want you there for that Twisters review. It's going to get a lot of people back to the theaters, I feel like, that film. It's going to be a fun one. I bring up a lot of these subjects because John Lunsford just got back from a little vacation of his own. It was a little getaway. He spent more time probably on the road than actually at the destination.
It was close, yeah.
But you had this huge meal on Saturday evening
Yep.
that we have talked about all weekend long, and I want you to save your review for that. For tomorrow's show. I want to hear all about it tomorrow. I want to go through all of it. You can tell me this. How many courses was it?
12.
I was
Oh my
about to
God.
say, I looked through your pictures, and
Oh
it
my
was
God.
A lot.
yes,
12 courses, and we'll find out on tomorrow's show whether it was actually worth the money, which ended up being a 4-figure price tag at the end of that. Have you ever felt less comfortable signing something in your life than probably that dinner bill? Just from the amount, not from this, maybe the experience.
Yeah, but it's up there.
Okay.
I felt more uncomfortable in certain scenarios, but yeah, it's up there.
Okay. Well, we will get into maybe some of those other scenarios sometime soon. Johnny Cash sang a song about having been everywhere. Johnny Lunsford has lived that life and is ready to share with us some of the most memorable cities he's ever traveled to. Let's get ready to discuss John's personal picks on another brand new edition of Luntz's List.
What is this? What is this? Luntz's List, Luntz's List, oh. What is this? What is this? Luntz's List, Luntz's List, oh. Luntz's List to buy. Luntz's List to buy. Luntz's List to buy. Luntz's List to buy.
John, outside of any theme park locale, I want you to name the 5 places that you've enjoyed visiting the most. What went into your mentality with this list? Because I would assume as a married man, a lot of your life experiences have changed with the way that you do travel now.
Yes. 3 of these locations I have been with my wife. 2 of those, however, I've been a bunch of times, both with and without my wife. But there's, the vast majority of my traveling before meeting my wife was through my gaming career, where I travel around the country and around the world playing video games.
For those that don't know, John was a professional gamer that got paid to play video games, which sounds like the life.
Wasn't that video that we watched recently from one of those trips?
I don't even know what randomly brought it up, but I showed the video of me getting 3rd place in China on the board. Maybe that makes the list. We'll see. Ooh. But I've done Europe, I've done China, South Korea, and then of course everywhere within the country. But that was most of my traveling before. But of course, my wife and I love traveling now and have been to a handful of places. So it's kind of a mix of all of that. It's also, even if it's just one place, it's not necessarily all places I frequent a lot. I may have just been one time to a certain place, but it's the experience that I had when I was there.
And we would love to see in the chat if you've been to some really cool places that stood out to you. Maybe it doesn't have to be a total of 5, but we would love to hear the coolest places you've been to and visited face-to-face, in person, that you would recommend maybe to others. Who knows? Maybe they make Luntz's List today. At number 5, we're starting off with Alaska. And John, we're going to get a shot of the big board whenever you get a chance, as Alaska is a very cold place, and 30 Days of Night was a good movie, and people go on cruises in Alaska. Did you go on an Alaskan cruise?
So I went on a 2-week trip that was 1 week cruise, 1 week touring the state on land. People go to Montana, Wyoming, states like that to kind of get away from it all. For me, that is Alaska. I went after graduating high school, and like I said, kind of did a tour where we literally got on a bus. So imagine like those Thrasher Brothers style buses that you take down a dirt road for 8.
Sounds like one is passing us right now here outside the studio.
Outside. Imagine taking one of those on a tiny little dirt road that you wouldn't even want to take a motorcycle down, but you're on a giant bus, and I don't know what that is. And
is that a leaf blower?
You travel all the way.
This is how A Quiet Place Day 1 starts. Yeah. It's like, what is that
what
noise
is that outside? But you travel up basically to the very tip top of Alaska, and you're going through wilderness where there is nothing around for 100 miles. It's kind of terrifying, but also kind of cool at the same time, because you'll come into a town, you'll go literally for 100 miles and then hit this tiny little town with like 3 buildings and 5 people that live there. And you'll have this incredible experience, and you'll get back on the bus for another 100 miles and just be literally nothing out there except for the occasional moose you see on the side of the road. It was really cool. It was cool to stop. We started in Anchorage, made our way up, and then came around the outside of Alaska and then ended up in Vancouver. But it was an incredible trip. I'd love to go back. I played golf at midnight there because it was during the summer, so it was all day instead of all night like it is in the winter. And so it was cool, but not like freezing, to where I could comfortably wear, kind of like I am now, like gym shorts and a hoodie, and be okay. The hoodie basically protecting you from a little bit of wind. But yeah, I teed off at midnight playing golf out there because it's always sunny.
Does that mess
in
up your
Alaska.
sleep?
It did, but they are very heavy on the, hey, we're going to completely black out your room when you go to bed. So every hotel you're in, on the cruise, like
I feel like that should be a necessity everywhere already.
I mean, yes,
Yeah.
I 100%
Agreed.
do that everywhere we go, even at Disney this past weekend. I want to make it completely dark in here to go to sleep, but they do a good job of that because I guess you kind of have to.
Do we all agree dark and cold is the way to sleep? Do we all agree
Freezing.
with that?
100%.
Like that right there is perfection.
Yes. My wife would say no because she keeps it on like 60, but I want it to be like 68. That's cool to me. But I'd rather be cold and bundled up, clearly, than
Yes.
hot and have to take all the covers off of me. So
Alaska, does that sound like a trip that you'd be interested in?
I've heard of Alaskan cruises. I don't know much about it, but when I think of Alaska, I think I'm freezing. So I would tip if I had the choice between a cold, and I like to ski, so that's cold, but I like to be warm and on a beach typically.
yeah, the
But-
cruise is not like a Carnival cruise. It's more. It's not as fun and bright and sunny, obviously being in Alaska, but you still kind of get the same experience. It's just instead of stopping off at St. Thomas, you stop off in random town, Alaska instead.
You should do a television spinoff. It's Always Sunny in Alaska. I think it would be a big hit. Big hit. Tyler, Alaska on your bucket list?
Oh yeah, I've always wanted to go to Fairbanks and then like hike north up from there to see the northern lights in the winter.
One thing I did not see was that,
Okay, that's where the Northern Lights is.
but it was summer. It was always daytime. So.
Okay.
If you haven't gotten there yet, just keep heading north. EG says, big fan of Alaska. Nick says, I have a friend whose mom and dad moved to Alaska for a job. And when she left that job, they went and helped them drive their cars the other 3,000 or so miles back to Mississippi.
Oh.
That sounds like a job for Jim Dunaway. It sounds like Dunaway would love that job. He loves long, lengthy drives. Let's go ahead and move on to number 4 on Lunce's list of the 5 coolest places in which John has been to. We've got Jody's top 5 coming in. We've got Justin's pick of Iceland coming in. That's pretty cool. Jody has Tijuana, Kosovo, San Diego, Alaska, Rotterdam.
I like San Diego. Didn't make the list, but that would be an honorable mention.
You went with San Francisco, which is where I hear you leave your heart.
Yes, went further north where it's cold. We went here for our honeymoon. We went to Anaheim, LA, San Francisco. We took the drive from LA to San Francisco, which is long but cool, kind of driving up through a bunch of wine country and everything on the way up there. But my only complaint with San Francisco, the only reason it's this low is because to get to the 2 sports I care about, football and hockey, you have to drive an hour to get to the stadium. And I'm sure Doman Brown can tell you that because they went out for the when Alabama played out there. I don't know what year that was, but anyway, they played championship game out there. I love that stadium. I love Levi Stadium. Super nice. But probably the biggest reason this is up there is because it was for our honeymoon. And on your honeymoon, you splurge and go crazy on your honeymoon. So we had the best place to stay. We had the best experience.
Y'all took
We
some
were
great
there.
pictures, too.
Yeah, we were there for like a week. It was really, really fun. Went to a 49ers and a Sharks game up there, which I know the Sharks are technically San Jose, but it's all the same area. And so I say you have to drive so far, even though it's Oracle Arena, where the Warriors play now is just right across the bay. And then the Giants are right there at the bay too. But Golden Gate Bridge is cool. The city's cool. It's the tech capital with Silicon Valley there. Apple, going on a tour around Apple's campus there. Stanford. There's a lot of really cool sights to see. It's a really cool place. I could probably live in San Francisco. Easy.
Is it considered a faux pas to want to go see Alcatraz? Is that like going to...
I saw it from the mainland, and that was all I cared to go see it,
Really?
personally.
Is that because you just feel weird about it, or is that because
it
it just not interest you
Just
whatsoever?
doesn't really interest me
Where Stanley
whatsoever.
Goodspeed saved the country from The Rock, but...
Dwayne was there?
No.
Oh.
Taylor,
Chris.
any history with San Francisco or any hope and desire to get out there to San Fran?
My parents are actually there right now. Or they're
There you go.
Did you guys coordinate this? You guys coordinated this.
They're traveling. They're driving up the coast of California. So I don't know if they're actually in San Francisco right now, but I know they went and saw the Golden Gate Bridge. They're sending a bunch of great pictures and all that. So they're out there somewhere. I've never been. I've been to LA and I feel like one other place in California, but I've never been to San Francisco. I would like to go though.
Okay. I think Tyler, me and you should go to San Francisco, have a good time. What's the main dish in San Francisco? What's the main thing that you eat up there?
I mean, the main thing that I ate, I don't know that I had one thing, but there was this one place that Brown told us to go at Fisherman's Wharf. I can't remember what the actual restaurant was, but it was Fisherman's Wharf was like a little area. There's a thing at Universal that kind of mimics Fisherman's Wharf. But it was...
Tyler, me and you are going to split a fisherman's pie. How does that sound?
Sure. I want to say it was like clam chowder or something that was like their big
in
thing.
A fisherman's pie?
I think that's New England.
Every time I try to
bring.
bring Tyler into the conversation, he's like, what are you roping me into now? What do I have to contractually agree to? But anyway, we'll make that happen, Tyler. Let's go to number 3 on Luntz's list. As we're counting down the 5 places John has said this place is cool in his life. That's one way to say that what this list is. This place is cool.
Chengdu.
Huh?
So there's a story with Chengdu, China that would take up that could take up an entire episode that I won't go into the whole thing.
Chengdu tell.
I'm sure I've told Tim a million times.
That's good.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I'm sure I've told Tim the story a million times, but basically I got stuck in China for a week longer than I was supposed to be. Not the place you want to be stuck. However, Chengdu is where I was supposed to go, and it was for a gaming tournament there, and it is one of the most fun trips I've ever been on. Chengdu is not that bad. I feel like when you think China, you think
Authoritarian
Yeah.
power.
You think kind of ratty. You think like the government's going to put you away and all that kind of stuff. Chengdu was not bad. Chengdu was pretty nice. It was a little more tech forward maybe than a lot of places are. It was just, I don't know, it's just a fun event. The biggest reason I liked it was because when I was there, Asian countries way more treat gamers like they're almost professional athletes. And so we would go into these like random markets just sightseeing because we were tourists. And there's a lot of stereotypical things I could say, but basically when we stuck out compared to everybody else there, everybody would flock to us and want pictures with us. They had no earthly idea who we were. But as far as they knew, I mean, I was a professional basketball player that was there for some reason, and I was basically treated like I was a professional athlete star, even though nobody knew who I was. Nobody knew who the rest of us were.
That's why Dwight Howard went over there, and he's been...
I mean, yeah.
He was very happy to go to China.
Yeah, it was fun. I will say, I don't want to bring this up to spoil Lunch's list, but the don't tip thing, I tipped the first cab driver we had, and I've never seen somebody so insulted in my life that I tried to tip them because it was 9-1, which is their currency over there, and I gave them like a 10 and said keep the change, and it's like, what the hell is wrong with you?
How is that insulting? I would never be insulted by someone trying to give me money. Like,
Because
please.
they view it as like, oh, you have money? Okay, you're bragging that you have money and you're trying to give me more because you're richer than I am. That's how they view it, even though it was the equivalent of like 50 cents here. So that's how they view that. And I will also say the best meal I had, so actually it was a combo trip. I went from Birmingham to Anaheim for the weekend before for a gaming event with a different league, and then flew from Anaheim to LAX, flew from LAX to Seoul, and then on to Chengdu. And the best Chinese food I had the entire trip was at PF Chang's before we left. But I did eat at a Hooters and a Pizza Hut in Chengdu, China, which was an experience to be sure.
In Chengdu, never say, keep the chain, dude. Keep the change, dude. I didn't work that one out. Let's go to number 2 on Luntz's list. Not my finest hour. Taylor, I appreciate you being here.
I'm
laughing through
laughing
the
at your
pain.
jokes.
Thank you. Keep the change, dude. Chengdu. Get it?
I get it.
Number 2. Please, you can't write quick enough.
Vegas.
Okay. Very, very straight to the point. Viva Las Vegas at number 2. Love Vegas.
Everything about Las Vegas makes you feel like a big shot when you're there because they want you to spend as much money as you possibly can when you're there.
That's true.
Yeah, no, I mean, the first time I went was right when I turned 21. My grandfather took me and my cousin to go and just have a weekend full of playing blackjack and gambling whatever we wanted to. But since I've picked up poker, thanks to you, I've lost even more money and been to Vegas even more than I ever would have imagined. Although the one poker tournament we both played there, I do have to say I won. But
You went in with the third best hand, and I went in with the best hand, and you survived. Congratulations.
And ended up winning the tournament. It was only like 20 people, but yeah.
I was proud of you.
Anyway, so Tim went to the slot machine and just kept playing until I lost. And I never
And you
lost.
never lost.
That was bad.
I
If
never
you had
lost.
lost earlier, I would have had a much better slot run because I would have only lost on a couple machines. But instead, I just kept. How much longer is John
I
going to
see,
be
I
at
see
the
him over the
table?
corner. It's like he's still over there just hitting
Oh,
the
it was
button. I was like, he
bad.
has to be racking up a tab over
No,
there.
it was bad.
But no, Vegas is fun. You know, if anybody's has seen it, the bright lights, the
the shows, the food.
shows, the food, the gambling, the drinking, everything
Just
about
people
it.
watching is fun.
People watching is really fun.
I do a lot of people watching after playing the slots, waiting for John to get done. Because it's free.
Did a lot of glaring at each other. No, but I mean, it's Vegas. I don't know what else to say about Vegas that people don't pretty much already know about Vegas.
Yes. Taylor, Las Vegas.
I've been to Las Vegas, and I don't know why this just popped into my head. Y'all will probably know what I'm talking about, but I think it's a hotel. And
Okay, that
it's-
narrows it down to about
No.
70 possible choices.
Wait, my description's not done. I think it's supposed to be mimicking Italy, maybe Venice.
Yeah, the Venetian.
Yeah.
Oh, that would make sense. And it looks like you're outside.
Yeah.
Is that okay? That's what I remember.
Gondola
most.
rides are happening
Yes,
there.
I
in the
didn't get on one of those. We got in there to get ice cream or gelato, I guess. But yeah, I've been to Vegas. It's a very interesting place.
It is.
Basically, what I heard was, but if I haven't already mentioned, I really love Italy. That's what I just heard her say.
Well, I don't know why that's what stood out to me so much. And when we were walking, because I went when I was not 21. We were on a little West Coast tour with some of our family friends, and I guess our parents wanted to go. And I just remember the next morning, or the morning after the night that we got there, we were walking around. There were a bunch of what looked like baseball cards scattered across the sidewalk, and they were not baseball cards.
They were not baseball
They
cards. no.
were not baseball cards. So I remember that in the Venetian, I guess.
I remember after getting just destroyed at the slots while John is coming off the high of winning that tournament, we're walking out to go across the street back to the place in which we're staying, and we're getting handed those cards by people that are trying to, hey guys, you want to come party at 4:30 a.m.?
And the people out there, they're always like
thanks.
flicking the cards to give them to you, like trying to make noise so you hear
No
it.
thanks. No thanks.
I got a story for it's too long, but I got a Vegas story one day. My first time at Vegas, so you can save it for another day. But it's a very long, detailed, uncomfortable story.
So the one you went to Tool?
No, that was Reed's bachelor party.
Okay, I'm going to put this down.
Yeah.
Rockstar.
Well, I had two Vegas stories then. The Reed
Rocky
story and then the one
Vegas.
before that.
That's the one that all comes to mind.
Okay.
When we're talking
Well,
about Vegas. All right.
Vegas has led to a lot of great future discussion. Let's go to number
I
one.
thought I was supposed to stay in Vegas. I thought we're supposed to bring it home.
no, I guess it does come out eventually.
All right, this might be a dumb question.
Yeah?
I've never been to Vegas. What are these cards you guys are talking about? People handing you cards.
Hey, you know everything we talked about with the popcorn buckets? It's like that.
When
but
a
in-
mommy card
Okay,
and a daddy card.
Stop. It's a family-friendly show.
I think I understand now.
Yeah, just put the microphone down, Tyler. You're only going to damage your wholesome spirit. Number one, NYC. See, they give you the card so you can get in to see things. Anyway, NYC is number one. John, you could spend a whole week just traveling around, traversing through New York. And you
I
would
want
love
to
it.
live there in New York.
Really?
I lived up in New Jersey for 2-3 months, one summer that I was up at Rutgers. It is by far my favorite place to go. It's my favorite place outside the state of Alabama. It's probably where I spent the most time outside the state of Alabama. I don't know. I love everything about the hustle and bustle of the city. I like that there's no green around. I like
Doesn't feel too cramped to you and claustrophobic.
No, I love it. Like we did a whole podcast one time back at our last job where we got on the subject of New York. I don't remember why, but I was like, you have to be an asshole in New York, and I love that you have to be that way. Like, because it just everything about it is it's just so me. I don't know why, but like
That's not a good thing to say about yourself.
it's hard to explain, but like, and people say, "Oh, I hate New York." I get why people dislike New York. Don't get me wrong, but I like the cold weather, as we've talked about. That's why places like Alaska are on my list. Vegas also gets very cold when it's in the winter, and San Francisco gets very cold in the winter, as does Chengdu. But I like the cold. I like the hustle and bustle of the city. I would love to live in one building, walk down the street, go up to work in another building, and then be able to go down and stop. Like when I was at Rutgers, so I had class 2 days a week. I was there in the summer, and I had class on Monday and Wednesday from 5 to 9. And every day outside of that, I was in New York. I would take the train in to Penn Station from New Brunswick, and I would get there about 10 o'clock in the morning, and I would stay, and I would just wander. I would have no plan every day when I would go, and I would just wander New York City every single day for the other 5 days of the week until the last train home came home at 10:30. And I didn't have no plan. I would just go see. I went and saw a bunch of movies at various movie theaters. I went and ate everywhere imaginable. I went and shopped everywhere imaginable, and I still didn't even remotely scratch the surface of what's available in New York. There's so much to do there. You could live a whole lifetime there and still only do half the things that there are to do in the city.
Favorite pizza place?
Favorite pizza place is probably Ray's.
I've heard Sbarro is fantastic.
The original New York pizza, that whole Michael Scott bit. Ray's was good. So I had that. First time I had that was I was there for a gaming event in 2009. I was there. We were doing the gaming event at the Javits Center. And we actually stayed at the Plaza Hotel. And
featured in Home Alone 2, Lost in New York.
Yeah. We always had like a Team USA party, and they had it at the ESPN Zone that used to be there in Times Square. And we walked back, stopped by, got a whole pizza. It was probably 3 a.m, and it was pouring down rain. We stopped by, got a whole pizza, walked back all the way to the hotel. And it was really good. So it's probably the most memorable pizza I've had.
There we have it for Luntz's list. Number 5, Alaska. Number 4, San Fran. Number 3, Chengdu, China. Number 2, Vegas. Number 1, New York City. EG says number 5, Holland. Number 4, Malibu. Number 3, Alaska. Number 2, Florence. Number 1, Switzerland, in all caps, with extra emphasis there on the word Switzerland. So there's EG's
I do want
list.
to go to Switzerland.
There's plenty of stories that I can't wait to get into, including Rockstar's Vegas story for sure. I do want to quickly wish a happy 87th birthday to one of the most captivating actors of our lifetime. That is Jack Nicholson, who turns 87 today. And does anybody, Rockstar, what's your favorite Jack Nicholson performance if you had to pick one right off the top of your head?
Oh, it's got to be The Departed, which is great.
Yeah.
He's did so many good ones. Witches of Eastwick, I'm kidding. Shining was good. The book was so much better. And I'm trying to think of...
Batman 89.
Batman 89 was really good, but what was the paycheck he got? Was something ridiculous.
Huge, and then he got money for every Batman movie produced after that as well,
Correct. So
residuals, even through the Dark Knight trilogy, reportedly.
He took the Taylor Swift business class because he knows what. But yes,
he's done
Joker,
well
The
for
Departed,
himself.
probably one of my favorites. And
One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, The Two Jakes. He got some bad ones too. But the last one I saw of him that was Anger Management was the last Adam
Anger
Sandler
Management's
film
awful.
I tried to do.
We go see a movie tonight. John, do you want to speak on the legacy of Jack Nicholson real quick? I feel like you wanted to.
No, just The Departed.
Oh, okay.
Departed for me.
Challengers. We go to see this movie tonight. John, it is one of your most anticipated, yet again, movies of the year. We only see your anticipated movies because all mine are coming out later.
So far.
And Challengers stars Zendaya in what appears to be a love triangle, and it revolves around the sport of tennis. And that's pretty much what I know about it. And I'm looking forward to going in with only knowing that much about it. And you know those little cards they hand you in Vegas? It's like going to see Challengers from what I've heard, Tyler. So
I don't
prepare
think it's
yourself.
going to be as much that as you think it is.
We'll see.
But no, I'm looking forward to it. Zendaya has been incredible on Euphoria and has done a ton lately, of course, Dune. But yeah, I think this movie financially is not going to do crazy. It would have been a lot better if they cast people that people actually knew in the two male roles alongside Zendaya. But
if this movie had Tom Holland and Timothy Chalamet in it, it would crush. It would be one of the biggest movies of the year.
Giant.
Absolutely crazy.
But this is the same guy that did Call Me By Your Name, which is one of my favorite movies of all time, which did have Timothy Chalamet in it. So looking forward to it.
It is projected to open this weekend with a less than stellar $7 to $12 million opening. This is an early advance screening that is being shown tonight that we are attending, and we will give you our non-spoiler review tomorrow on what we think of the film Challengers as it officially opens wide this upcoming weekend. John, I'm sure you can place a lot of bets on tennis at our title sponsor. That's MyBookie.
You can go to mybookie.ag, use promo code next round. You see the code right there on your screen. Promo code next round on that first deposit and get a first deposit bonus. On us, you can bet on the NHL playoffs started last night. Preds blew a 2-1 lead with 10 minutes left to lose their first game. Stars start tonight, so you can go bet on the Stars to lose to the Kings. Is that who they're playing?
No, they're playing the Golden Knights.
Golden Knights, that's right. Stars and Golden Knights, two teams, people coming in, people thought were going to win the Stanley Cup, playing the first round, so you can bet on that. Of course, NBA playoffs underway as well. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere at mybookie.ag.
There we have it. We appreciate everybody in the chat today making your opinion known, and we appreciate very much a guest of the show today. That is Taylor Korn of Uncorked. Make sure you head over there and subscribe. You can find the channel linked with ours right here on the Meltdown channel. Taylor, thank you so much for stopping by.
Thanks for having me, guys.
I know you're a big fan of blackjack on MyBookie. I know that is
Yes.
something that you are a big
Yes.
fan of, and our title of sponsor appreciates you very much, Taylor. That is going to do it for us here on the Meltdown. We hope to be back with you tomorrow, 2 o'clock Central, 3 o'clock Eastern, right here on the channel. Make sure, if you haven't already, check out that Deadpool and Wolverine trailer reaction that just dropped right here on the channel. We'll see you then.